Yo, what is the crack? I'm the Minyon from AllCastIrishGamers, and this time you're going to get to see my new recipe, my Gren Maju banish deck. Well, it's really quite simple. You just banish as many cards as you can from your deck and power up the mighty Gren Maju to ease it. And you have a lot of combo starters such as Armageddon Knight, great way of getting Gizmek Orochi into the graveyard. Then all you gotta do is maybe summon Eater of Millions, and the great thing about Eater of Millions is you don't just have to send 5 cards. You can send as many as you want from your hand, field, extra deck, and then summon him. It's all to power up Gren Maju. Now, you'll probably win games on your own with just Eater of Millions and Gizmek Orochi, but there's other cards in there to help just make things go a bit smoother. Gizmek, he is a one-man powerhouse. He will automatically give Gren Maju 3,200. Just, 8 cards from the top of your deck in the graveyard, and that special summons him from the graveyard or your hand. So he is invaluable. Now you've also got Tour Guide from the Underworld. She's great at getting Gren Maju onto the field. Now he will have his effect negated, which is why you'll need something like Monster Reborn, get him back, and then his effect will be active. But the main goal of this deck is just remove everything. I used to use Gren Maju back in the day when we had like simple cards like Soul Release and stuff like that as a means, Skull Lair as a means of removing cards to power him up. And yeah, I still won games back in the day with him. Now he's just unstoppable. I mean, just Gren Maju, look at this, 400 attack for every card banished. So you just stick in everything you can. You got your Necroface. Now it can be used two ways. Necroface is a good way of getting all your cards back if you're about to run out of cards, duel goes on too long. Summon your Necroface, put all your cards back, and then you can start everything all over again. Hand traps are essential. I mean, Nibiru, you gotta have Nibiru in your deck. There's so many decks that he has saved me from. Once they start spamming special summons, you use Nibiru, you summon their token in defense mode. But be careful, because Eater of Millions, his effect won't work on tokens, because Eater of Millions removes them face down. You can't remove tokens face down, so watch out for that. Summoner Monk is going to be one of your main kickstarters. He's just going to be a good way of getting your Armageddon Knight, or it's just one of your level 4 guys out onto the field to start off your combo. And of course he himself is a combo piece, because then you can go into Nightmare Phoenix or one of your other extra deck cards. That's if you haven't removed them with Pot of Extravagance, of course. That can be a pain, real big pain in the ass. Is you go to look for a fusion monster, or Exceed or Synchro or something, and it's gone. It's just not there because you removed it by mistake using your magic card. Now it will give Gren Maju a bit of attack power, so just watch out for that. Don't be banking on your extra deck to save you if you're going to have Pot of Extravagance in your deck. The main pot of choice will be Pot of Desires. Man, that thing is just powerhouse. Boom, 10 cards removed straight away, draw 2. That's 4,000 attack right off the bat for Gren Maju. Perfect card. Extravagance is only 6 cards removed, and you get to draw 1 for every 3 cards removed. So it does help. But yeah, like I said, if you're planning on running a lot of extra deck monsters that you depend on, you might want to swap that Extravagance out into your side deck. But yeah, there's a lot of combos you can do in this deck. Most of it revolves around Gren Maju. I mean, let's face it, he is one of the best cards in the game for just building a deck around, and there's so many ways to do it. There's that many cards that are removed from play. You could make a deck with Gren Maju and have all sorts of removed from play stuff. These were just the ones I found easier to use, they work the best together, and they were most efficient. The Golden Castle Stromberg is another great way, because it's got that built-in mirror force effect if they try to attack you. But you want to be building like a 50, maybe even 60 card deck to run that card, because it's constant. Sometimes you can't even keep up with how many cards it removes. Macrocosmos is great as well, because it stops anything that has to be sent to the graveyard. All those effects won't work, it's just going to be banished instead. Oh, Gallant Granite, he's very good. He should be your main focus with Summoner Monk, because you summon him, you remove a material and you add a rock monster to your hand. With him in your deck and Summoner Monk, you basically always have a Nibiru in your hand, always, and that can really come in handy. Now your opponent is going to know you have it, so that might limit the amount they special summon, which could also work in your favor because it will slow down their combos if they're afraid of being Nibiru'd at any given time. But I mean, Gren Maju, it's really all about him. Of course, Gren Maju himself is not without his weaknesses. If he gets his effect negated for any reason at any time, whether it's effect failure or any other numerous amount of hand traps or negate effect monsters, he's useless. He is worse than useless, which is why you gotta have backups in there. So you know, topological Zero Boros, very good card, removes everything from play, and he gets powered up as well by cards removed from play. Special summons himself back. I mean, I had this guy on 10k 800 attack. Like, he is even better than Gren Maju, but because he requires 4 monsters for his link summon, not as easy to summon as Gren Maju. So yeah, Gren Maju is going to be your main staple card, but be warned, just a simple effect failure and he's gone, he's useless. So that's why you got to have your Call from the Grave and other cards in there to try and just back him up and keep him on the field as long as possible, because chances are you don't need him on the field all that long anyway. I mean, you know, you're going to be using stuff like you know, Sanguine to get Tour Guide will get Gren Maju, and then once you get Gren Maju out in the field, so long as it's past the 2nd, 3rd or 4th turn, you're guaranteed, with this deck, you're guaranteed to have at least 10 cards removed by then. And if you don't, you're getting some really bad shuffles, because the consistency out of this deck is crazy. You're basically guaranteed to get that guy over 4,000 after just a couple of turns. Now, depending on if they have good cards to stop you, that's another story. So you just got to be prepared for anything, and take no prisoners, just no mercy at all. If you think you can go for the win right there and then, take it. Use your effects, use every tool at your disposal, and just get that win. I haven't really made too many changes to the side deck to like how I use other decks, because you don't really need to. I mean, once you've got your your staple main extra deck cards, the ones that get you out of trouble, you're laughing. It's the side deck that's up to you. Now, I went for a few cards that I might have need of someday, like Dimension Shifter and whatnot, but it's up to you at the end of the day. It's what you think you could use in place of the cards you have in there. So side deck is all your choice. These are just the cards I decided to have. So effect failure, you gotta have a couple in there. Just an extra Sanguine in case you want to have 3. Dimension Fisher is okay, but it's no Macrocosmos. And like I already mentioned about the Golden Castle Strongbird, it is a good card, and you could nearly build your deck around just that and Gren Maju, because you're guaranteed 10 cards from the top of your deck every standby phase. That's within 3 turns you'll have him well over 10,000. So yeah, he's built for that card, but it doesn't have any protection. It can also cause you to run out of cards. If you don't have Gren Maju when you activate it, there's a strong chance it will remove him for you. So just watch out for that. I have it in my side deck just in case the need arises, but it's your call. Another Lightning Storm, because I mean, sure, why not? And of course just some kind of remedial trap cards that might get you out of some sticky situations. But I have to say, I did have a lot of fun playing this deck. It gets kind of repetitive because you're only hitting pretty much the same combo: remove, summon Gren Maju, attack. I mean, it doesn't really get much more complicated than that, but you will still find it very hard to come against some decks. I mean, if they shut down your ability to remove stuff, I'm talking about Necro Valley here, you could be in a spot of bother. So use the cards wisely, change around what you think needs changing around, and let me know in the comments if you like this build for Gren Maju, or if you have any better ideas that would spice up this Gren Maju deck. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. I was the Minyon, this was my deck recipe, and I will be back with another episode. Bye bye.